Hi, Mystery Recapped here. Today, I am going to explain a drama fantasy film called Ricky. Spoilers ahead, watch out, and take care. The movie begins with a tired mother of two named Katie, contemplating putting her baby Ricky up for adoption. Katie works a low-wage job at a cosmetics factory and lives in welfare housing in eastern Paris. She says she hasn't been able to look after Ricky and her daughter Lily by herself after her partner left her. The social worker reminds her that abandoning a child is a big decision and she should spend more time making sure that she is taking the right step. For the meantime, the social worker offers to see if domestic help can be arranged for Katie to help her look after the baby. Katie is also advised to file a police report that her baby's father has abandoned her. The movie then flashes back to the past, before baby Ricky was born. After waking up, Lily opens the curtains and wakes up her perennially tired mother. Lily then heads to the kitchen and begins preparing breakfast for herself and her mother. The mother-daughter then take a shower and have breakfast together before leaving for Lily's school in Katie's scooter. Katie promises to pick her up later before kissing her goodbye and heads to work. At the factory, Katie locks eyes with a man named Paco Sanchez. Paco walks up to her during a cigarette break and introduces himself. Katie lends him a cigarette, and Paco reveals that he recently started working at the factory. One thing leads to another, and the two end up hooking up in the washroom. As a result, Katie takes time finishing her daily work quota and gets in trouble with her boss, who scolds her for being lazy. Katie also arrives late to pick up Lily from school. Moreover, she forgets to bring Lily's helmet, and she is forced to give Lily her own helmet on their ride back home. The next day, Paco meets Katie outside the factory. Katie expresses her embarrassment over the fact that they hooked up right after first meeting, saying it is not usually her style. Paco agrees with her, saying he doesn't hook up on first dates either. Sure you don't, Paco. After making some more small talk, Paco asks her out on a date. Katie, who has been longing for company, couldn't be more excited, and she accepts the date, much to Lily's dismay, who wanted to play dress-up with her mother. At the date, Paco asks Katie about Lily's father, and she reveals that he lives in southern France. Lily's father wanted Katie to abort her, so he wants nothing to do with Katie and their daughter. Meanwhile, Paco reveals that he was briefly married in Spain when he was young. After the date, Katie takes him back home, and the two make love again. Poor Lily has a hard time falling asleep due to the sound of Katie and Paco's lovemaking. The next day, Lily wakes up to Katie and Paco having breakfast together. Katie tries to introduce her daughter to her date, but the little girl isn't interested, and she runs back to her room. To spend more time with Paco, Katie also signs Lily up for the school bus service, and Paco eventually moves into Katie's home. A year passes by, and Katie becomes pregnant with Paco's child. One day, Paco gets a call at work from the hospital and learns that Katie has unexpectedly gone into labor. He rushes to be by Katie's side with Lily. After Katie gives birth to a healthy baby boy, Paco asks Lily for suggestions for the baby's name, and Lily names the baby Ricky. Paco turns Lily's room into a nursery, much to her dismay, and she begins to feel sidelined by her mother, who spends most of her time with the new baby. Lily also doesn't like the fact that Katie keeps insisting that Lily call Paco Dad. Katie's spending most of her time looking after the baby also begins to take a toll on her relationship with Paco. And one day, Lily catches Paco cozying up to another woman outside their apartment building. However, Lily decides to keep it to herself. Paco later returns home late, saying he was out with his friends. Paco's changed attitude worries Katie, and the two get into an argument. However, the two make up before going to bed, promising to be there for each other more. Soon, Katie starts going to work again, and Paco is left to look after the baby during the day. One day, when Katie returns home, she notices a strange bruise on baby Ricky's back. She asks Paco about it, but he denies knowing anything about it. Paco insists that it's nothing, but over the course of the next few days, the baby grows another bruise on his back. The poor baby also keeps crying all the time. One day, Katie confronts Paco about the twin bruises. Paco again denies knowing anything about it, but Katie accuses him of beating Ricky. This upsets Paco, and he breaks up with her before leaving. Seeing Paco storm out in anger, Lily realizes that he has left for good, and the little girl embraces her mother to comfort her.